next lecture. Alright, so let's open the Premiere Pro. So inside the Premiere Pro, I have created this sequence you can see right now. Okay, and this is the video on which I'm going to apply the smooth out skin. So this is the video and I'm going to smooth out the skin. So let me first show you by zooming into around 100% to show you that the skin is not smooth here. Let me show you 50%. Okay, so skin is not smooth over here and we are going to make this smoother. Alright, so for this purpose we are going to use the Lumetri colors panel. So if it is not shown right over here, just go to the Windows and select the Lumetri colors, and that way this panel would be available right over here. So over here you can see if you click on the FX panel, you can either directly work on this or you can simply add one more Lumetri colors effect by clicking on this icon. Right, so I have already done little bit of exposure compensation. So if I show you that this was before and this is after. Alright, so now we are going to learn how to smooth out the skin. So for this purpose, obviously I would suggest that for each step, for each major step, make sure you add another Lumetri color effect. So just click on this drop down menu and click on the add Lumetri colors effect, and that way we will have a new Lumetri color effect, and here it's very fresh and nothing has been done to this. So we need to come down on the bottom, come down on the HSL panel, HSL secondary panel. So this is the HSL secondary panel, right? So we'll be basically working on this. So this is the panel which will help us to smooth out the skin. Alright, so for this purpose, let me first show you that this is the set color option. So with the help of this color picker, we can choose the skin color. So we can just separate our skin color so that we can apply the smoothing effect on the skin. If we apply the simple blur effect or the Gaussian blur or the fast blur on this video, then it's going to apply on the every part of the image. But that's not what we are going to do, and we are also not going to use the Gaussian blur or the fast blur because they are very heavy. So it would makes your review very choppy, and as well as the rendering process becomes very lengthy, right? But we are not going to do this. So we'll be using this color picker. Okay, so with the help of this one we can click and select the color. All right, so it has already selected the colors, and with the help of plus we can add some areas which are left out, and with this minus we can subtract some colors. All right, as this moment you might not be able to see, so for that purpose we will click on this over here, color or gray. So we'll check this one and it's going to show you our selection looks like. Alright, and if you click on this drop down menu, we have three options: color or black or white or black. So if you click on this, that's going to show you the color which we are selecting, and the black is obviously we are not selecting. Alright, so you can work on this way, or you can prefer to go for white or black. Alright, so white means where we have selected, that would be white, and whichever color we have not selected, that would be black. All right, and the effect of smoothing would be applied wherever there is white color. So let me just go to the fit to the screen, and then I'll click on the plus icon and I will click on the left out area on the face, so that is also selected. And over here this area is in the shadow, so we'll select that as well. So we'll click again on the plus color picker and we'll just drag something like this, okay, until our skin is selected. All right, and beside this you will also have some other parts selected, but no problem, the skin smoothing would be applied, or the smooth effect or the blur effect would also be applied to that area. That doesn't matter. But if you have an important part on this area or other area, make sure you just deselect it using this subtract option or subtract color picker tool. Okay, so now let me just zoom in a little bit so that I can see it clearly. All right, and now you can see it has also selected the eyes inside the eyes. So we don't want that, because that would make your eyes look soft and that would ruin the effect. All right, so we'll click on the subtract color picker tool and we'll click inside the eye, okay, so that it just takes away that particular color. All right, so you can even refine this color with the help of these sliders. So you can just drag this and you can see it's going to add to the selection, and if we drag it back it's going to take away the selection. We can even work with this slider, or we can just click on this little thing and drag it this way to just refine this selection. And it has the HSL, so H means hue, so it's going to select the hue of the color, okay. And S stands for saturation, so it's going to, you can see this is less saturated and this is full saturated. So if we just drag it this way, you can see it's going to select only the saturated part, and if we drag it this way, it's going to include the part which is not even saturated that much. So this is basically a range from point A to point B, okay. So then we can again work with these sliders, little triangle, so we can just expand our reach, or we can just contract it, okay. It's all up to you how your selection looks like and what you want to include. So basically you have to spend a little bit time on making the perfect selection, because if your selection is good, obviously you will get the best result. But if your selection is not good, which is basic thing, then obviously your end result would not that good. So now we have the L stands for lightness value. So here it is dark and here it is the light one. So if we just drag it this way, you can see it's going to include more darker area, and if you drag it to the right side, it's going to include all the lighted area or light area, okay. Again, we have these two sliders, we can work with these as well and include or exclude something from our selection, okay. And then we will come down over here. If you click on this little square, that's going to invert our selection. So now the white part is where the effect would be applied, and black part is where the effect would not be applied, but we don't want that, so we'll just select this one, okay. And then we'll come down a little bit more, and here you can see we have refined our selection. So at this moment it has some hard edges, and hard edges would ruin the effect, which we don't want. So we'll just use these option of refine. So we will denoise it and blur it. So we'll increase the denoise to something like this, okay, and we'll blur the effect to something like this. So that way we can just soften the edges, and that way our end result would look more amazing. Alright, and thereafter we will come down, and then we have the option, let me just make it fit, okay, because we don't want to see that, and come over here. Let me just make it little larger so that you can see it clearly. And this is the panel. Let me just undock this panel. So right click and select undock panel and drag it over here. Let me undock this panel as well so that we can see it clearly. Let me make it little larger. Alright, so let's come down over here, and here we have the correction option. So we can add some color from here. Let me first uncheck this option to show white or black mask, so we'll have our image back. And then here we have the option to just add any color to the skin. So here we can even work with the skin as well, and if you just double click in the middle, it's going to revert back to the default option. And then we have this option, so with the help of this one we can make our selection lighter or darker, okay. So we can make it darker or we can make it brighter, and if we just double click it, it would be back to its default position. And here now we have other options like temperature, tint. We can just do anything, but the main thing which we want to do here is smooth out the skin. So for this purpose we need to come down on this sharpening option. Alright, so in the sharpening sliders, if we drag it to the right hand side, it's going to add more and more sharpening to the image. Let me show you. So you can see if we increase it, that's going to add more details to our selection or whichever area we have selected. And if we drag it to the left hand side, that's going to blur out or smooth out that particular area. So it basically takes away all the details from our selection. So this is the method which we are going to use and smooth out our skin. So here you can go for anything. Alright, you can just go for any value you like, but after experimentation what I found that what works best is the -30 to 35 range. Okay, obviously for my skin, but if your model or your actress or the person who is featured in your video has some more grains on his face, or if you have captured more details, then obviously then you can go for -40, 45 and more. Alright, so you can see, looking at just this, you might not able to see the result right now. Okay, let me just go for -40 this time. Okay, so make sure that value should always be in the minus side, and after just doing this, just render this part. Okay, and if you just render this part, and you will see now, if we just play it, so you can see the skin has been smoothened. So this was before we have applied the skin and this basic adjustment, and this is after we have applied. So I'll show you after rendering it. And one thing you need to keep in mind, if you just go beyond -40, then you might end up looking very unprofessional results. So at this, I think -40 for me is little bit too much. All right, so I need to just go for -35, so that way your face details would be intact and at the same time your skin would be smooth. All right, so you have to maintain the balance between the smoothness and the original details, otherwise you will have the blurry effect, which you obviously don't want. So let me show you after rendering the before and the after of this. So thank you so much. I hope you found this course useful. If you did, please don't forget to leave the review of the course so that other students also find it. And don't forget to check out my other courses as well. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next course. Have a great time.